Hi, everybody. Matt Lawton here, and this is the Astrological Winds channel. And I think I'm moving into the age of Aquarius with everyone here. As you can see, we've got a little bit of like this AI human interface going on with me here, as in I'm mic'd up. I'm advancing in the world thanks to one of my followers of the blog and a good friend. And I appreciate this helping me out with this donation of these microphones to help improve the sound quality of the blog. And I ran a little test, and it seems like indeed it will do so. So, welcome to the age of Aquarius. Cutting edge technology here, I guess, onto the blog. Um, so there you go. So yeah, this is Matt Lawton. This is the Astrological Winds channel, and this is a video blog that I do every week, looking at the weekly weather forecast for all of us on Earth, according to the astrology of the times and the tropical astrologies. And the Western astrology model. And this is a blog I've been doing for many, many years. It was a podcast before this, and it was a written blog before that. And if you have a YouTube channel, if you're watching it on YouTube now, which you can either get from my link on my website, or if you have the YouTube channel and you found it that way, or you're one of the followers, if you're not a follower, become one. If you like what you're seeing, and remember to turn on your notifications when you do that, so that you know when the blog is posted. And like I said, was a podcast for years, and it's still available on podcast. Buzzsprout puts it out. There's about 20 different podcasts that pick it up. All you got to do is look up Astrological Winds channel on whatever your favorite podcasts are, and you'll find it out there. Also, Astrological Winds channel has an Instagram page where I sometimes not only post the blog's link every week there, but also post some extra information in comment form, not audio, video, sometimes on certain days that I want to mention. Also, I post the link on my Facebook page. It is private. You need to friend me. That's Matthew, 2T's, Lawton, Lauten, and it will come up in your newsreel every week. The best place to find it, though, is right on my website, and that's www.astrologicalwinds.com. www.astrologicalwinds.com. If you guys, thank you so much. What I ask you to do to help support the blog is to pass it on to someone who you think might be interested in it. That always helps me allow it to grow in an organic manner. And also, if you're ever interested in a professional astrology reading, or you know someone else that is, I am a professional astrologer, been doing charts for years. Once again, go to my website, www.astrologicalwinds.com, and it has all the descriptions of the kinds of readings I give. The menu is all there. If it's not working for your budget, let me know, and we'll try to figure something out that works for both of us. And can't hurt to ask. So just contact me. My contacts are on that page. My email is matthe823@gmail.com. Now, remember, if you're not used to astrology, you're not very well versed in it, you still get a lot of use out of this blog, because what you want to hear is what I'm saying in between the astrological terms, the energy of the week, and how you can work with that. So this week we've got a full moon in Virgo, which is opposite Mercury and Saturn, so it's a little tricky, but it's also tied up with a grand trine to help itself out a little. And we also have Mercury changing signs going into Pisces, and we also have Venus and Mars. And if you'll remember, if you checked last week's blog, um, both went into Aquarius, both conjuncted Pluto, and gosh, did we see a lot of intense stuff in the world too from that. I think I kind of warned you guys last week, we could see a lot of intense stuff. I mean, just like that parade in Kansas City, that's the kind of thing that Mars Pluto energy can really bring up. these kind of events that just can be like overly intense, and dissolve into destructive kind of violence. But yeah, they're going to get together this week. Venus and Mars will actually conjunct. So that's three of the main things I'm going to talk about this week. So anyway, yeah, just we've got this new format here, and welcome to the Age of Aquarius for the blog here. And right away, so the first thing is going to be the Venus conjunct Mars in Aquarius, and that's on Wednesday, actually. And so it's a conjunction. So that means it's a beginning. It's about beginnings, and when Venus and Mars get together, it's about relationships, creative relationships. Most creative relationships in humanity have to do with romance and sexuality. So many times when Mars and Venus get together, it's a time that, especially if there's stuff going on in your chart that also lend into this energy, that you can fire up some new relationships, and they may actually be romantic sexual type ones if you're looking for that kind of thing. With in Aquarius, you're looking for something different and new, something that's different than you, something that's different than maybe, people that you've connected with the past. It's not like you're, away from want to get away from your friends or anything. In fact, it's a nice socializing type of energy too, especially in Aquarius. Venus and Mars in Aquarius are both very extroverted and into socializing and having a lot of connections with a lot of different people. But that's it. Like on a personal level, we kind of want to invite something new into our lives, somebody that's different than us, that operates in a different way, that's alternative, and has a lot of maybe the same shared ideals on a more collective or social level, but like on an individual level has a different approach than you of life and the way. And like, what happens is like, a lot of times with that kind of thing, Aquarian can actually show that opposites kind of attract at times, and that they can fill, missing parts of them and in the reflection of each other. So, it can be energy that's very much like that, where we're seeking out someone who is different because they're going to fill in parts of us that are missing, and vice versa. So but it's also like, like I said, creating connections with people who have shared ideals, values on a bigger level, a societal level, like, and it could even be group relationships like that too, like getting into new group. There's a lot of creative energy involved with Venus and Mars get together too. It can really drive creativity. And here again in Aquarius, that's coming in on an intellectual level. This is like being attracted to people because of what they think, what they believe in. That's very attractive. Maybe just even their degree of intelligence is something that can be something that's very attractive, just the way they kind of look at things like that, so it's a very creative energy on that level too, and can be, smart too on the level of like where to put money actually for the future. Maybe not, even if it's not like in like, even if we can be maybe not in a good space with it now, or even possibly even be a little wasteful with it now, maybe spending it on things we don't necessarily need. It also can see where in the future is a good place to spend money. But there's a lot of creative drive in this energy too. There's a lot of like alternative, creative drive energy. So that you can output a lot of creative energy with this. So we're going to look at that too. So Thursday, we have Mercury going into Pisces. And so remember last week the sun went into Pisces. So I talked a little bit about what the Piscean energy is in general. So when Mercury, which is all about our minds, our intellect, our speech, our thoughts, our connections, our travel, our moving around, our business, things like that. When it goes into Pisces, traditionally in astrology, that is the weakest sign that Mercury is in. It is the sign that Mercury does not function normally in the most. So it's a little bit awkward on that level for the intellect. Actually, it gets us really actually into like kind of that really abstract kind of place in our mind. It's not cool, precise logic and intellect that's dictating things right now. It's going to be abstract stuff, fantasies, hopes, wishes, dreams. And what that does is it fires up our imagination, actually. It gives us a very imaginative, creative mind on an abstract level. It can be like a lot of those, you know, the impressionist kind of paintings in our mind and the way we look at anything, kind of fuzzy a little bit, in the Pisces world, but that can also be very inspirational, and it can fire up our imagination, inspiration. And then one of the things that happens with Mercury in Pisces, since Mercury is all about our speech, also we can get very creative with words once we get that inspiration and imagination. So like poetry, songwriting, lyrics, rapping, storytelling, myth retelling, creative writing of prose, fiction, and fantasy type fiction. Those kind of things can all be very spurred by Mercury and Pisces. The issue with Mercury and Pisces from the traditional sense is that it is not functioning well in that real intellectual world. It is in this level of like in its own little fantasy world inside. So what that means is like our communication through our speech with others is not very precise. It's not very solid. It's not very reliable. It's kind of wonky. So like there can be a lot of misunderstandings. There can be a lot of things maybe even left unsaid. It does help communication on other levels though, like literally like telepathic type of communication, emotional intuition type of like feeling how other people feel and responding to that is very strong. But once again, all this stuff is not the way the logical mercurial mind normally works. So this is why it's considered weaker then, and we have to be careful that we do not fall into that trap of like, a lot of misunderstandings and then like things not going well because of that, in relationships are just like, oh well, just didn't get like all the details or whatever it may be. But it can also get us very interested in spiritual subject matter, things that we use the mind to study with. So it can get us very interested on that. It's not really too interested in the scientific logical side of knowledge. It's more interested in the even what would be the pre-scientific or what's becoming the more holistic way of looking at things, how energy and spirit and matter, all those things seem to blend together somehow, and that there seems to be some kind of unifying energy that that Mercury in Pisces can be perceptive on that level, can get insight on level, can communicate with like beings that don't use speech in a rational way to mainly communicate, like even children, animals, plants, sprites, whatever it may be, spirits, those kind of things is what that kind of where that communication comes from. But yeah, so in the real world, we have to be really careful when Mercury's in Pisces about making any kind of agreements, negotiations, business stuff. The information we gather can easily mislead us. That's another thing about Mercury in Pisces too. It can get fanatical with what it believes in and blind faith then. So, there's not a lot of discernment going on. It may just accept what it's inputting as fact when it may not, where it's actually more just a leap of faith to accept that kind of stuff. So we have to be a little bit careful about being too passive about the receptivity that we're taking in during Mercury and Pisces too. Discernment is definitely not one of the strengths of Mercury and Pisces. So, okay, then we get to Saturday. The big event of the day is this full moon in Virgo. And I do have it on this thing here, although I know you guys see it backwards because of the way I do things still right now. Eventually, I will resolve that problem too. We'll continue with this Age of Aquarius technology update stuff, as I can handle things like that, which is not the quickest speed. I have a lot of fixed energy. So anyway, full moon in Virgo at 6 degrees. So that's where we're looking in your chart now, is 6 degrees Virgo. And it's a full moon, so that means it's what? Opposite the sun, right? So we've got an opposition. That's why the full moon always is a stressful energy. To oppositional energies connected on an axis with a similar principle, but they're pulling away from one another. So they're creating a lot of tension, and when we're feeling like we're having to make decisions in relation to that energy. So we've got this full moon in Virgo, and Virgo actually, is a more logical, intellectual sign, right? So but it is connected to the moon in the earth element, in the sense that there's a lot of rhythms with the moon, and there's a lot of rhythms that Virgo energy is connected to with on the earth. So rhythm is something that they do work well with. The problem, so the thing with Virgo moon is that it's all about having a correct way of doing things. Like, that's what brings us security when we're in the Virgo moon zone. That we want to make sure that the procedures are being followed, the rule book is being followed, because we know that's the way we can get success. So that brings us security. And the problem with that is that we have a tendency to become very narrow-minded and judgmental of everything and everyone going on around us, and can get literally hypercritical, if you have Virgo friends or people with a lot of Virgo energy around that, they can have that proclivity to fall into this very judgmental, critical mood. And it's not like they're necessarily even, that's happening, from their standpoint in a negative way. It's actually, they're just trying to get you back on track of the right way of doing things from the way they see it. Like, this is the procedure, this is the rules, this is the law. And when you follow this, I will guarantee you that you'll get a certain kind of result. You will have some of the success you want. So that's what that Virgo moon wants. So there's a practical methodology going on to the approach of what we're doing in that Virgo moon. And we look at the house that's in our own chart, and that's, going to relate to that area of life, but it's opposite the sun in Pisces, And it's interesting because the Pisces energy has a lot more to do with the moon usually than Virgo energy does. So it's kind of a little bit funny. And I really think in this case, the Virgo moon, because Mercury is the ruler of this moon. And what did I just say about Mercury? It's in Pisces right now too, right? So it's also kind of in that emotional Piscean zone where the sun is. So the sun and Mercury are conjunct in Pisces, so is Saturn. So the full moon is not only opposite the sun, it's opposite Mercury and Saturn too. and so it's kind of like they're all playing together here now, but those three planets are all in Pisces. And that's the problem Virgo has with Pisces, is it's not precise. It's not precise at all. It has an underlying energy that's very receptive, taking in everything without discernment, without really boundaries, without clarity, which is exactly what Virgo needs to feel like it's secure. So so here's the will side of us, going out and just taking in without discernment, and just driving Virgo crazy. And then Mercury, which normally would be on Virgo's side, that's why Mercury is strong in Virgo. When it's in Virgo, in rulership and and exalted also. But when it's in Pisces, it's the opposite. It's in detriment and fall. It's in its weakest sign, like I said before. So here it is, like the emotions are allowing, are driving thoughts, and so it's falling into that Sun and Pisces side. And the same with Saturn, even Saturn in Pisces is not really when Saturn went into Pisces months ago, I said that, it's not really the most comfortable place for Saturn to be. It's a little too emotional for Saturn, and Saturn's the same way as Mercury and Virgo energy. It wants more precision, but it can get very narrow minded, rigid, judgmental. So that's kind of the plane that we're fighting in this full moon, that there's this one side of us that wants that emotionally to be secure. It wants to know that what's going on is going to work in a practical way and bring us some security. And the other side is just kind of like off and just taking things in on these very abstract, big levels that don't have very much precision. That could even be called sloppy, or careless even at times. And so that's where all this oppositional energy is creating tension in this full moon, and we're trying to find that balance, right? We're trying to find the balance between those things, and so right now it seems like, when you look at that, there's a lot of energy that tips more towards that Piscean side, and the Virgo side of us feeling stressed out that we don't have we don't have the rules and everything working right, and things aren't working out. Now, in this full moon, however, there's also a couple other aspects. The moon is exactly trine Ceres, the asteroid Ceres, which is one of the four biggest asteroids, and is the one about the mothering principle, the caring and nurturing principle. And it's also trine Jupiter in Taurus. So what we have is a grand trine in Earth, actually, going on with the moon, Jupiter, in Ceres. And I think this is going to help bring balance back and allow the Virgo moon to feel okay, because the moon trining Ceres and Ceres trining Jupiter are both about giving support to people, especially our loved ones, and in particular, like even on a material level. And it may not be like, some grandiose type of support, but it's the support you need to stay in rhythm, the support you need to continue to have fruitful endeavors and and productive results from what you're doing. And so I think, it's interesting because part of the thing with the moon opposite Saturn and even the moon opposite Mercury a bit, the moon opposite Mercury will definitely talk things out with other people, but it's irrational. It's like the thoughts are being driven by emotions, and those emotions, when it's Mercury, are attached to the past, they're attached to childhood, they're attached to the things we learned when we were young. So a lot of them aren't really truly us. They're like, things we picked up and been brought up on by our elders when we were younger, our teachers or preachers, our parents. So a lot of those thoughts are, the emotions being driven behind them are attached to stuff we learned. And that's what's kind of stressing us out. It's like we're hearing like these old voices that, this is the way we're supposed to be doing those things. And it falls into that Virgo thing that was supposed to be doing things, and the Saturn's the same way. Opposite Saturn, he'll have us just shut down relationships emotionally. We just like really go inside. It can get us really moody. And I'll be honest with you, both when moon is opposite Mercury and Saturn, not only in this full moon, but anytime you see that, it's really a good time just to be quiet and, and be with yourself and your own thoughts, and just own your own emotional stuff that you're going through, because you're not going to be understood, and you're probably going to do damage to relationships if you try to communicate that stuff out. But here with the Grand Trine, we can go back a little bit into that need of what Virgo wants, of getting production, having a way of doing that. And in these earth signs, this grand trine, like a stable way that we can keep repeating. That's what Jupiter and Taurus really like, like this is like, we know this works. We know we're going to get this if we do this. And we know people will be taken care of. And the moon trine Jupiter will give a good attitude about it too, will be, be able to like fight off some of that moon opposite Saturn in particular and be able to adopt a positive attitude because all of a sudden we're seeing, oh, we are going to be able to get at least what we minimally need to keep going. It's not the promise of a lot. Earth energy, especially with Virgo, Saturn's involved. We're probably not going to get some huge payoff from this grand trine, but it's going to be something where, yeah, there's stability here, there's support here, there's generosity, there's give and take. I can work with a group, and like, and my ideals and values are being met too. So there's some really good energy wrapped up in that. And here's the one last thing that should help with this full moon. And, I really think we can find the middle of the seesaw with this energy because it goes back and forth. But like Venus is square Jupiter that day too. And that's a really sweet aspect for the most part. It makes us want to be with our loved ones and have a good time and be generous. And it, there is a danger of maybe actually even getting too wasteful. But I think with the Virgo energy, we probably won't with like resource and money, that is. And, and the other danger of Venus Jupiter is like, just like adopting kind of an arrogant attitude about I'm right. So that can be a little bit of that danger of the moon in Virgo too, where that can maybe feed some of the critical energy and the judgmental energy that Virgo does. But I really do think when you sum up all this energy, the full moon itself, then the oppositions to Mercury and Saturn, and then you come back into a grand trine with Jupiter and Ceres and Earth signs, I think there's really a way to find the balance between that Pisces and Virgo, where we don't allow Virgo to get so stuck in a certain procedure that it's not really allowing anything else new in. And they can allow some of that Sun in Pisces, Mercury in Pisces energy to come in with these new ideas, new insights that are coming from abstract levels, inspirational levels, and then bring them to Virgo's side and be like, here, here's something else that, could be put into the rule book that could, bring some interesting new avenues to go down to, and it doesn't have to shake everything up so much that it's confusing and misunderstanding and just too nebulous, that we can develop a new playbook with this and get some kind of security and support on that level. It's definitely on the service axis, this full moon. So it is a lot about like that, like how we serve ourselves, how we serve others, how we serve society, things like that. So, and that's, once again, Virgo will say, well, if we want to do things like that, we need to have a procedure. We need to have a way of correctly doing that. But the Pisces side is saying too, but yeah, we want to keep moving forward too. We want to take in something bigger. We want to be like future oriented too, So real interesting energy. As I always say, I think that's my favorite adjective to describe astrology. And I can definitely get into some more descriptive terms, but at the very least, it's always very interesting. All right, this is Matt Lawton. This is the Astrological Winds channel. This is a weekly blog I've been doing for a long time. It's been on YouTube for several years now, so please become a follower if you have a YouTube account and turn your notifications on. Don't have to really watch the video if you don't want. It's, me mainly talking to the camera. It's available on all kinds of podcasts. Buzzsprout puts it out there. I know it's on Apple iPodcasts. Just look it up. Also, I post the link on on Instagram, and sometimes additional information during the week, just in written form on Instagram that you can just read in less than a minute on that day. So become an Instagram follower of Astrological Winds channel is my point. If you like what you see, and also post the link every week on my newsreel on Facebook. You have to private me, friend me. It's Matthew with two T's, Lawton. Lauten. If you'd like to give a donation to the blog, no amount is too small. Venmo handle is at the symbol A with the circle. And once again, Matthew with two T's, capital M, and then a hyphen in the middle. And then it's Lawton, Lauten, capital L. Like I said, no amount is too small. Thanks for the microphones, my one follower, and anything helps for sure. Like I said, no amount is too small. That the best way to support me and the easiest way to find the blog is to check my website out. And I've got a new page on the website, you guys. It's a calendar page. I call it Earth and Sky Calendar. And I'm not going to talk what is on that calendar, but every week there's different Earth and Sky things that you should know about in the energy of the week, and just like when you want to look at the sky, at the stars, what's going on up in the sky. So you got to go to my website to check that out. www.astrologicalwinds.com. That's where you'll find all the information you need for readings too. When you need that reading, please, help me out. Come to me. And I've been doing them for over 20 years. I have no dissatisfied customers. I can give you references, whatever you need. If the cost is a little too much for you, we can probably work something out. So, it doesn't hurt to open up a dialogue with me. Just contact me. The information to contact me is right on the website too, www.astrologicalwinds.com. And my email is matthui823@gmail.com. Thank you all so much. If you can now pass the link on to someone else, that would really help me out. And go and check the website out. Go check that calendar page out at least. See y'all next week, when we will talk about not only the weekly next week, but I'm going to look at the month of March. So that'll be a good one to check out. Don't miss it.